So I was able to go to conferences, see other agents in other areas of the country who were doing things. I did not invent a thing. I just went to other areas and saw agents that were doing things and said, wow, if he could do it in Scottsdale, Arizona or Cleveland, Ohio, there's no reason I can't do that in Columbia, Maryland.
Welcome to the Success with Listings podcast, where we help you get success in the real estate game the easy way. Now you can get off the roller coaster of feast and famine and out of the rat race of competing with every other agent in town. Hi, I'm Knolly Williams. I took over 1,000 listings during my first 10 years in the real estate game, and in this podcast, I show you how to have success with listings. Let's go.
Yo, back at you again. I'm super excited because I got one of my favorite people in the house. Now, remember, I told you guys that I'm only going to bring you people that I'm either personally in business with, or if I could wave a magic wand and be in business with these people, I would be already. And so these are people that I admire, I respect. Now, let me share with you a little bit about this guy that we're about to introduce to you and what he's done. Now, he was the #1 RE/MAX agent in the world. Then guess what he did? He switched to Keller Williams and became the #1 Keller Williams agent in the world. He's been in the game for more than 40 years. He's written 3 books. He's the founder of Go Abundance. They've got over 1,400 members. Also the founder of one of the first and biggest podcasts in the real estate space to ever exist, Real Estate Rockstars. And in the house, we got Mr. Pat Hiban. What's up, Pat? How you doing, brother?
And I'm doing great after that intro,
You
brother.
like that intro?
That was good. Yeah, I mean, it's a great summary. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Pat and I were just talking real chill and calm. And then all of a sudden I just, boom, I'm hitting the intro. Like, where'd this guy come from? So, Pat's a great guy. I remember, learning from you, man, when I first got in the game. I mean, honestly, and you're one of those guys that very rare, very few that actually learn the game. And then what I call spit the game. That's what I say, that basically said, hey, you know what? I learned how to do all this stuff. Why don't I just teach other people how to do it? I remember when I was reading your book, 6 Steps to 7 Figures, there was a part in there was like 15 things to do when you're in a slump. And I was like, man, these are like super practical things that you could actually do. And then you talked about this whole idea of why would you actually own a boat? Now, I don't know if your philosophy is different now, but it got me to thinking from a wealth standpoint, why would you own a boat, or why do you need a vacation house when you could actually save that money or do something else, a different kind of investment, and, utilize it this way and just go rent your dream house for, a summer or a month out of every year. So you had some great, the book is full of great concepts, and you've got 3 books. So, man, thank you for being on the podcast, bro. I know I sound like a fan because I am. Thanks, bro. Thanks for being
No,
you.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, exactly. All those things are still true. And, um, to your point, I feel like although there's a lot of agents out there that are, that have a lot of hope and that are feeling like their market is still rolling and there's still pendings and that sort of thing, it's probably not a bad time to act as if you are in a slump, right? And
Right.
get used to start working them muscles as if you're going to be in a slump for the next 2 years because that's the time, right? There's less availability of transactions that will turn into commissions. And I think the slump mindset is the mindset to have right now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I call what this mark, and it's different in different places. I mean, back home, where I came from, Austin, Texas, it's rocking and rolling like Austin does. And but the beauty of my vantage point, I've got agents in 30 plus states, and I'm able to talk to these agents and see what's happening in their neck of the woods. And it's different everywhere, but I'm 100%, and that's why I'm actually teaching a master class just to my agents on those 15. And I'm definitely giving 100% credit to Uncle Pat for being the originator of these concepts. Every one of them is going to go out and get your book, and then of course we're going to get the new books that you've written. The Quitter's Manifesto, and what's the other one you talked about?
Yeah, and
Tribe of
the third
Millionaires.
one is Tribe of Millionaires. Right, Tribe of Millionaires is a book I wrote with the other three founders of GoBundance.
Mm,
It talks about the old adage of you are the average of the five people you hang around the most, and it kind of horns in on that. So
yeah,
it's called
yeah.
Tribe of Millionaires, and it's very well received, sells very well. All three of my books can be found on Amazon.com. Two are published by Bigger Pockets Publishing, and the others on Amazon. All easy to
Huge.
find. Yeah.
Man, well, we're going to talk about the books in a minute, but I want to talk. I mean, I love the lifestyle that you've created on there in Folly Beach. And it's incredible. We're going to talk about that too, because I've been to your house. We strolled the beach together. You live in, man, we went to breakfast together. I mean, like you live in a beach town like I do,
You
and it's
signed my
fun.
you signed my bucket list board.
I
Remember
signed
that?
the bucket list board. I sure
I need to
did. I
I need
sure
to go
did.
look,
That's
see what
right.
it says. You remember what it says?
Um, Yeah, I think I do remember something about let's do it or so. I don't know what it said.
Oh, it was a bucket list. It was like something that's going to happen in your life. I'll take a picture of it and text it to you
Yeah,
later.
send me a picture of it. We'll flash it up. We'll flash it up on
I
the
have this
podcast.
big giant canvas that takes up a whole wall, and it says, "Before I die, I will."
I
Dot dot dot.
will.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
will. And um,
I was on a real cloud nine, just hanging out with you, there, at your place. And but I want to go back. I want to take it back because I want to talk about how in the world, I don't even know how this is possible because back in 2008, I became the number one real estate agent in Austin, Texas. Okay, I was my
mm,
fourth year in the business. I did 96 transactions as a solo agent out of 9,800 agents. My production was number one in the city. Austin Business Journal came out with a report.
wow.
And that's when Gary Keller's office called me, and I was personally recruited to Keller Williams by Gary Keller.
Mhm,
Well, I, I knew how to become the number one agent in my city,
mm.
but how in the world do you become the number one agent in the world for Remax? How do you become the number one agent in the world for Keller? I don't even know how that's possible.
You know,
So talk us
it's
through that, man, because that's unimaginable for me, even for me.
well, it's a little different. It's a lot different now, but I was on the cutting edge of team building. I was one of the first agents in my market to have a buyer's agent, to add agents, to add telemarketers, to add um, uh, buying listing lead. By buying, everybody buys a little bit of listing leads by running an ad with some houses in it saying they're number one in something. But on a large scale, as far as buying with local cable TV, television ads, billboards, things like that. So I kind of was on, I hate to use the word cutting edge, but I was able to do that and implement those ideas faster than other people were. And
Mm,
there was a time when I first got into the business. I got in the business 1987. There was a time probably for the first 10, 12 years, people just did not have assistants. Like if you had an assistant, it was frowned upon. Like other agents gave you crap for having an assistant. They didn't want to talk to your assistant. They didn't, they just didn't. The concept was foreign to them. It was okay for a dentist or a lawyer to have somebody answer the phone, but it wasn't okay for a real estate agent to have somebody answer their phone. Um, so I was able to go to conferences, see other agents in other areas of the country who were doing things. I did not invent a thing. I just went to other areas and saw agents that were doing things and said, wow, if he could do it in Scottsdale, Arizona or Cleveland, Ohio, there's no reason I can't do that in Columbia, Maryland. And I just started doing them, and I was able to ride a wave from say, 2000 to 2004, 2006, because I had built a surfboard that was strong and already built, and I was able to ride that wave. That's the best way to kind of describe it. And now it's a cliche to have a team, right? Now all agents do,
Mhm.
even when they maybe should or shouldn't. But back then it wasn't. So I think that helped me a lot. I was also in a very good market. I was in Maryland, in a suburb right between Baltimore and Washington. Federal government, we were just starting to get into our wars, our forever wars that we've been in for the last 20 years. We've been in one war or the other for the last 20 years. But before that, we just didn't have the war machine, the military industrial complex. And when you live in a state that is sisters and connected at the hip to Washington, D.C., all that money flows in to that state, to the suburbs. So uh, all the big government contractors and that sort of thing uh, have just been flush with cash for the last, we were just starting to get all that money, 1998, 1999, that sort of thing. And then the first Gulf War hit, and it's been a lot of wars since then. So anyway, so I was able to tap into all of that looking back. So we had a lot of movement in the market, and I was just ready to catch the ball.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm hearing you talk about all that, and you, it's kind of like you're talking about it nonchalantly, but there were a lot of people, there was a lot of agents back then that did not have the surfboard, did not see what was happening, did not. You talked about this whole concept of having a great R&D department. Remember that?
Mhm.
Your R&D was
Right. Rip
was
off
on
and
point.
duplicate. Yeah.
There
Rip
it
off
is,
and
rip off and
yeah.
duplicate. So you actually snapped into some ideas. And the thing I wrote down as you were talking is the timing was really good, and then your positioning was really good. You positioned yourself, and you were able to take advantage. And you guys knew what you were doing. But to do high volume, the kind of volume that you were doing, a lot of people wouldn't even um, understand without killing yourself. I mean, you were doing it with ease and flow. You had a system in place, and you talk about it a lot in that, in your real estate book. Um, but it's just quite phenomenal, man. I mean, it wasn't luck because you did it at multiple companies. You became number one in the world. Okay. And that is really, really big. What would you say to someone and this could apply to an agent or an entrepreneur, in right now that says, man, they're not going well for me. Maybe it was easy for that guy, but I don't see how and you dealt with hundreds and hundreds of people like this. I don't even know how to, what should I be doing? What should I be doing next? Not get into the weeds or the specifics, but, uh, talk to that person that might be a little bit discouraged
Hmm.
and thinking that, what, maybe this isn't for me, or this is hard. This is hard. I don't know how I can even make it.
Yeah. Okay. So the straight answer is, yeah, man, it's a hard business, and it's hard on purpose because it's a very lucrative business. I mean, we all have made lots of money, you and I both, off of real estate commissions. I mean, it's the margin and the amount of gross revenue that an agent can make is um, well beyond most sales jobs, well beyond 99% of all other sales jobs. You really can't sell cars or sell um, computer systems or things on such scale uh, as real estate agents can sell houses and make the commissions. Now that may or may not change with this lawsuit, but certainly in the past, there's been a it's been a very lucrative business, um, and so there's no free lunch, right? So it's going to be hard, but it's worth it. If you want something easy, you could go, make a lot less money. Um, as far as someone saying, yeah, it's hard. Well, I think it is hard. I would agree with them. It's hard. It's not easy. I don't know what to say about that.
Well, you actually made it look easy, man. If I was to look from a 30,000
Um,
foot view at your
yeah.
operation, and as I go through your book, it's like, well, you just do this, and that, and you're going to get the result. Like,
Hmm.
duh. It's almost
Yeah.
like you understand what I'm saying? It's almost like, and lo and behold, when agents started to mimic and pattern themselves after you, agents like me that came after you, right? I got my license in '04. I said, well, hey, wait a
Hmm.
minute. What's Pat Hiban doing? Oh, let me just
Hmm.
do that. Oh, he's got an assistant. I want an assistant. Man, I got an assistant 8 months into the business. People thought I was
Hmm.
nuts. I was only 8 months in. It's like, what? You don't even deserve an assistant. No, you know what I'm saying? The Pat has one. Shoot, I want one. And so it becomes easier when you do the right things in the right order. And that's what I've seen with how you did the business. You did the right things in the right order, and it produced result of being number one in the
Hmm.
world, not just in your marketplace.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And I think that's still true. I think that I guess the majority, I guess if it's hard, it's probably because you're doing the wrong things, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, because at some point it became for you a system that you just had your people do, and they plugged in and did what they were supposed to do. And as long as they did that with the right training, you got the result that you expected. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, I always did what people told me to do. Like I was always one of these guys that was um, sit in the corner and do what you're told. Like I took the Floyd Wickman class and Sweat Hogs, and he said, hey, pick up the phone and call until you get an appointment every single day, and that's what I did. Like I was like, okay, if that's what you say, like I didn't know what I didn't know, so I said okay, and then I would get frustrated when my agents wouldn't do what I said um, to do, and and the successful ones did. So and I'm sure you find the same thing. So my advice would be do what you're told to do, right? If especially if it's from a leader who's in the trenches themselves, who has done it or is doing it themselves. Um, and can prove to you that it works. And there's other agents that you could watch where you could see that what they are doing works. Success leaves clues, so just just look for the crumbs and you'll figure it out.
I love it. I love it. Follow the breadcrumbs and do what others have done. I mean,
Yes.
that's a sure way to success. So I'm gonna kind of pivot. I'm gonna jump forward a little bit because so few of us in this industry, in this business, actually get to retire or to move on from real estate. It's
Mm.
very rare.
Mm.
So you've done a lot of things right. You had a 40-year run, 40-year career, and now you're a lot of what you're doing is given. One of the things that really attracts me about you, or attracted me to you, is that you're all about paying it forward and giving back. If you would have just done everything you did and not shared how you did it, we'd all still be in the dark, but you actually are, like you said, you leaving clues along the way. After you became number one in the world at two different companies, boom, you put a book out and showed us all how to do that. Okay. And you didn't leave anything out of it. Now let's talk about Tribe of Millionaires and Quitters Manifesto. Let's talk about Tribe of Millionaires first, because I started off this whole run by saying that you successfully done what most of us hope to do, which is retire and move on to a point where you're actually a 100% giver. That's like what you spend almost all your time on now, is helping other people succeed. So what the Tribe of Millionaires is all about, being around um, you're the top five people that you are around and partner with, is the average of your income. And then you said it was the five leaders at GoBundance that you
Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah.
Talk about that
Yeah.
for a little bit.
So what happened was we wanted to write a book. And first of all, we started a company called GoBundance, which is a mastermind for business entrepreneurs, um, and business-minded people, uh, where they get together and they talk about challenges and they talk about how to improve on many different levels: health, family, money, everything. And we wanted to kind of write an entry-level book to explain the power of a mastermind. And the power of a mastermind is, you know, 2 + 2 = 14 or whatever, right? You
Sure.
get two people together and they sit down with two other people, and that's four people. But the ideas and the solutions that you come up with are 14, 24, 34, just because it explodes once you start talking. And so we wrote this book that tells a story about a young man named Ethan who uh, doesn't get along with his dad and loses touch with his father, and then his father dies, and where he thinks his father is a deadbeat, he goes to his father's funeral, and the pallbearers are all very successful men carrying the casket, and his dad leaves a stipulation in the will that says, you can't give Ethan my fortune until he goes to a deserted island with these, my six pallbearers. And so therein lies a story that we tell in the book of what he learns and how he comes out. And so um, so it explains it well. But yeah, so it's a creative effort that was done amongst the four guys that I started the business with. Since then, we've grown to we have 900 some. We have 600 members in our elite division, which is a $2 million net worth plus. We have 300 in our champions division, which is $10 million net worth plus. And then we have 200 in our starter division, and then we have another 200 in our women's division. We separate the sexes because we find that people share more and there's more confidentiality amongst the same sexes. And it works out really well. So that's what that one is, and it's a really good book if you haven't read it, Nolly.
Man, I'm itching to read that. I mean, that's a phenomenal concept, and I know that it's full of hidden gems of how millionaires think and advice from millionaires. So, every single one of us, you listening right now, should have that
Yeah,
book.
and if you go to, I believe if you go to tribeofmillionaires.com, you could get a free copy. You just pay the postage. You can
Okay,
get it on Amazon for $15 or whatever, but if you go to tribeofmillionaires.com, there should be a way for you to get it for free.
tribeofmillionaires.com.
Mm-hmm.
Go there. So that's incredible, man. That's incredible. What gave you the what was it that sparked the idea to start GoBundance? I mean, it's a pretty phenomenal. I mean, I remember you talking to me about this like probably 5 years ago about
Yeah.
GoBundance.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what happened was me and a couple other guys just like to mastermind. We like to set goals. We like to hold each other accountable for goals, and we like to um, encourage each other to grow. I'll give you an example. Like one of my goals this year, my mom died in October, and
Mm,
she was a huge mahjong player, and I never played mahjong. But I was talking to my doctor, and he's like, "Yeah, you should, start using your left brain. You should start either learn to play an instrument or start playing a game where you're thinking mathematically and that sort of thing, just to ward off
mm,
Alzheimer's, which my dad has, and dementia, which my dad
sure.
has." And so when my mom died, I got her mahjong set and I got her mahjong card, and I said, okay, well, this year I'm going to learn mahjong. And I was telling this to Tim Rode, who I started the company with yesterday, and he goes, yeah, that's a great idea. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to learn I'm going to learn how to count cards. I'm going to learn how to play blackjack and we get really good at blackjack so I can I could create muscles in my brain too to ward off dementia. So that's just an example of a little small thing that happened yesterday. But with GoBundance, we did it on a much larger scale. Well, we started out with just 4 of us doing it, and
Mm.
then we started inviting friends, and one day we had 18 guys come to David Osborne's house, who's a Keller Williams icon, and we all came there, and then we invited a, a whole bunch of other people one day to go skiing with us, and we had 38 show up. And then when we had 38 people show up to go skiing, we said, you know what, here's the thing, we should probably charge money for this, because this is some work that we're putting into this goal setting workshop we're doing. And this, we would ski during the day and then do goal setting at night. And so we started, and that was about, believe it or not, that was about 10 years ago. And since then, now we have, some 30 employees. We have a whole C-suite. We have a CFO, a CEO, CMO, and like I said, 1,400 paying members, and it's growing every day.
Where would somebody go to find out more about that?
They could go to gobundance.com.
Okay.
We have a big event coming up in Austin, Texas in May that is a all access event, meaning you don't have to be a member. Most of our events are members only, where you got to be a member to attend, but this is our first one where we're doing it where, you just pay a small fee, and then you could just go there. And we got some big name speakers coming, and it's the information is on the GoBundance website, GOBUNDANC. That's like go, and then like abundance, but you take the A out, so it's gobundance.com. Yeah. So anyway, so that's what we're doing. And it's been a great ride as well. It's been fun watching it grow every year, and it's still growing, and we're doing a lot of neat things now.
Sure. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can tell that this is kind of a passion of yours, and it's so nice to see things that version out of a passion, out of something that was necessary for you, and it was like, and you found beneficial, which was the whole masterminding thing. I mean, obviously, you'll get more out of a mastermind than any other kind of training, more than out of a lecture or even an interactive class or a workshop. Masterminding, especially when you have high level people and you qualify them, I know. So that's super incredible. It's a biblical principle as well. So let's move into this book, The Quitter's Manifesto, because I find that to be quite fascinating. So many people, I remember back when I was 22, and I was 22 years old, and I came home and I told my wife I quit my job. And she just about jumped through the roof, through the ceiling on that one. And because we had very little income, but I figured out a way to do it. And for over 30 years, I've not had a W-2. But a lot of people find it very difficult. There's still people that are part-time here, part-time in real estate, or part-time somewhere else. Speak to that. Speak to the Quitter's Manifesto.
So, I think real estate agents are the worst. It's very hard to quit. It's very hard to quit. And there's nothing worse than seeing an 83-year-old real estate agent calling FSBOs, it breaks my heart, and so I never wanted to be that agent. I never wanted to be, I was really about 46, I think, when I had a partner, Mike Sloan. I just kind of, sold him the business to run with it. And that was essentially when I quit. It probably was another 5 or 7 years before I let my license expire. But I always wanted to quit. I always wanted to get out of the business. So I wanted to be an agent that just left. And I did. I actually moved out of state in 2015. And so anyways, I didn't know how to do it. And Tim Rode, who I wrote the Quitter's Manifesto with, was able to quit. He was a real estate agent, and then had a flipping business, and he was able to quit all that at 40 years old. And he taught me how to quit. And I said, you know what? Between the two of us quitting like we did, maybe we should write a book about quitting. And so we teamed up with a guy that helped us write this book, and we just outlined in a tactical way. It's very tactical. It's not strategic, which would be like inspirational. It's much more tactical, which is like step one, you do this, step two, you do this, and then by step 7 or whatever step it is, you don't have a W-2 anymore. You don't have your job anymore. And we wrote it, and it was really
Beautiful.
fun. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So many people need that. Those that have really desired to get into what their ultimate purpose is. I wrote a book called Discovering Your Divine Destiny, where people go through that course and they discover, okay, here's the reason why I'm here. This is why God fashioned me. God made me. This is what my passion is. And I'm so far away from it. But then the obvious question becomes, well, how do I transition from where I am to where I want to be? And so the Quitter's Manifesto is absolutely golden for that as well. So thank you for that, man. What have we not touched on, Pat? I know I didn't want to keep you too long. I know I won't say you're a busy man, but you've got other obligations. Uh, but I just, I wanted to see your face again. I wanted you to be a blessing to my tribe, which right away you said yes. And that, that melts my heart. What have we not covered, man, that you would like to talk about or share?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I guess, anything I can do to help. I know the majority of the people that are listening are real estate agents. And I guess I would say, it's interesting, Nolly, a lot of my friends, and I'm like you, I know people all over the country, right? I mean, we're seminar junkies, so we know a lot of people in a lot of places, which is odd for most, because most people only know people right in their zip code, if that. But a lot of my friends in other states have called me for advice that are building teams. This is more of people with teams. This is more advice for people with teams than like the agents on the teams. Should they shrink or should they grow is the question. I'm curious how you would answer that question as well. But this is a question that I've been posed a couple of times in the last, say, 12 months, 6 months even. I don't, and I could be dead wrong. I just don't know if it's a time to grow. I'm more apt to give him advice on, yeah, maybe you should shrink. Maybe you should start saving more money. Maybe you should start showing up at the office more, traveling less, um, you know, um, doing more yourself, you know, um, than growing, hiring agents, coming up with marketing ideas, coming up with ways to buy business. It doesn't feel to me like it's a market where you want to expand on that as a team. You want to retract from some of that because you just don't know. This inventory is so short right now, and agents only get paid when they go to settlement. So they might be looking at things like days on the market and number of offers on a property and things like that. But what really matters is the amount of settlements that are happening at the title company in their zip code. And it's clear that all those numbers are way, way down. And so that's what actually gets you paid.
No doubt.
So I would act, like I said, I would go back to the basics and act as if you're in a slump. And I'm curious what you think. What
Well,
advice would you give to
so
people who are
very
trying to?
similar. I mean, my whole thought is from a team standpoint, you don't want to grow wide. So the wide way is, okay, I've got 3 buyer agents, I've got 2 listing agents, I've got that. No, 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 no. You now definitely you want to have administrative help. So I don't really, if you cannot do this, essentially what I do is I teach my agents how to whatever admin they need, how to not have to pay for it from their commission. Okay.
Mm,
So we have things like the admin fee, and there's other strategies that I teach on how to generate revenue for to cover your admin staff. So
or pay it per deal versus a salary. You
PPD,
know.
yeah, pay per deal. Absolutely. That's a way that you actually can pay out only when you get paid. I mean, another strategy that I teach my agents is, if like, I'll give you an example. I have an agent that just closed a $7 million transaction
Nice.
last week before last, and so I saw the commission on it was over 200 and like 215
Nice.
in one lump. It was a nice closing. So I'm like, dude, you could come up with a master class, $97. You teach all the other agents how to, step by step, how did you get this? How did you become a multi-million dollar selling agent? And he's only in his 6th year in the business. And from that, I mean, you get 10 or 15 agents that you teach this to a month. Now you've made 1,000, 1,500 that pays your VA. And you only have to show up once a week and 1 hour a week to teach maybe an 8-part series or a 5-part, whatever it is. So there's different ways that we could be strategic about making sure that we have our administrative, because the thing I did in my whole career, Pat, was I never paid for my admin people out of my commission. I just saw my commission as my paycheck, and then I generated other profit centers, revenue centers to cover my team or staff. And I give a whole bunch of different strategies in my latest book. So yeah, I would say definitely, just like you said, I call it a micro team. It's just you and maybe one admin. If you've got enough bandwidth to have, if you're not doing more than 40, 50 deals a year, then you don't even have that one admin. You've just got a listing to close person. Number one, you are seller centric. You're focusing on listings, and tackling it that way. I mean, obviously you've
Yeah.
got to get your unfair share, you know, because regardless of what the market is doing, through all markets, in my career, once I got up and running, it took me about a year and a half. I didn't do less than 100 deals a year. So, and that was because I was getting my unfair share, even though the agents in my market were doing 6 to 8 deals a year. Okay. And so there's ways to do that when you follow, if you read Pat's book, there's systematic strategies. The book called 6 Steps to 7 Figures. There's a systematic strategies of what you could and should be doing. And like he said, follow other successful people. But I'm with you. You got to shrink in order to grow.
And I think I would find like every agent in your office that only sold, say, 1 to 5 houses last year, and I would get to know them and be friends with them because all those licenses are going to get dropped, you know. So,
Yeah.
when they have a referral, you want to be able to get that referral, right? And
Good
pay
point.
them 25% or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's
When they
a
drop out of the
strategy. That's
game.
a strategy that I would be, because there's going to be a lot of licenses dropping.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Pat Hiban, man, thank you so much for your time, brother. It's been a pleasure. I always love talking to you, and you've always got wisdom to share. You're super humble, um, and that's what I like about you as well. I mean, I had to pull it out of you, like remind me, you were number one in the world, right? Yeah, yeah, I was number one in the world. Like it's like it's no big deal. That's really cool about you, man. So when I'm back in Folly Beach again, I'd love to hang out. Whenever you're in Puerto Rico, you've got a place to stay
Yeah,
as well.
man. What part of Puerto Rico are you in?
I live right outside of Fajardo, a small town called Fajardo. It's in a
Okay.
beach town called Luquillo. So when you fly into San Juan, and we're about 40 minutes east. Okay, about
Nice.
28 miles from the airport. So, but it's
Oh,
nice, man. We got an acre right out this window. I'm looking out this window. I can see the ocean. I've got the
damn.
mountains right here behind me. I can see. It's just gorgeous. So you'll love it here, man.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely think of you if I come to Puerto Rico for sure. I'd love a tour.
All right, my man. All right. Hey, there you have it, guys. The marvelous Pat Hiban has shared his wisdom, his brain with you. Check him out. Check out GoBundance. Make sure that you get the millionaire, a tribe of millionaires. Make sure you get that, the Quitters Manifesto as well. And we're going to have all this information down in the description as well. All right, we're out. Thanks, Pat.
See you, Knolly.
Well, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Success with Listings podcast. If you are serious about taking your real estate career to the highest heights, making more money and helping more clients while working less hours and spending more time with your family, be sure to get your copy of my free book, Triple My Listing, absolutely free at successwithlistings.com. Now, you want to be sure that you subscribe to the podcast and check out successwithlistings.com to get your copy of my free book. Hey, I'll see you on the next one.